everyone, I am here with a Bible reading. I hope you guys are having a good day. Please pray for Sherm. He's not feeling good today. I woke up with a sore throat, but it's not my whole throat. It's just on the right side. I get a lump down here sometimes when it's hurting. I don't know what it is, but it's always this side. Hey guys, who wants to hear some more cheesy jokes today?
No.
Yes.
No.
These are jokes about work today.
Don't do it.
Okay. This one is by Gazelle Melanson. I know they will. They'll take a cane and pull me off here. Throw tomatoes at me, won't you guys? If you had tomatoes, you'd throw them at me.
I got a potato around you.
I don't want no potato, that hurt. My friend had been pounding the pavement in search of a job with no luck. Frustrated, she asked her dad to look at her resume. He didn't get much further than the first line of her cover letter before spotting the problem. Is it too generic, she asked. I doubt it, said her father, especially since it's addressed Dear Sir or Madman. When it should have been addressed Dear Sir and Madam. She spelled it Madman. Okay. I'm going to start marking them when I read them so we know which ones we did. Okay. My friend's hour and a half commute to work got old quickly. The time spent stuck in traffic was sending him over the edge. So I was happy for him when he found a new job closer to home. That's great, I said. What are you doing now? He said, I'm a bus driver. That was by Alyssa Stanton. This one is by Rosemary Seed. Winding his way through the office cubicles, my son Mike spotted one of his employees playing a video game on the computer. Why aren't you working? Mike asked him. The employee had an excellent excuse. I didn't see you coming. Good one. I wonder if the employer laughed. And the last one on this page. A job interviewer asked me where I wanted to be in 5 years. I said, ideally, suspended with pay. That's a good one. Oh, okay. Alright, so we'll stop with the jokes today. Because we got a lot to read. My cap just fell. We got a lot to read today in John, so let's see. We'll be reading John chapter 11, verses 1 through 54, Psalm 117, and Proverbs chapter 15, verses 22 and 23. Okay, so in John today, we'll be talking about the death of Lazarus. Jesus comforts the sisters of Lazarus, which would be Martha and Mary. And Jesus raises Lazarus from the dead and the plot to kill Jesus. So let's begin here because we got a lot to read today. Now a man named Lazarus was sick. He was from Bethany, the village of Mary and her sister Martha. This Mary, whose brother Lazarus now lay sick, was the same one who poured perfume on the Lord and wiped his feet with her hair. So the sisters sent word to Jesus, Lord, the one you love is sick. When he heard this, Jesus said, this sickness will not end in death. No, it is for God's glory, so that God's Son may be glorified through it. Now Jesus loved Martha and her sister and Lazarus. So when he heard that Lazarus was sick, he stayed where he was 2 more days. And then he said to his disciples, "Let us go back to Judea." "But Rabbi," they said, "a short while ago the Jews there tried to stone you, and yet you are going back?" Jesus answered, "Are there not 12 hours of daylight? Anyone who walks in the daytime will not stumble, for they see by the world's light. It is when a person walks at night that they stumble, for they have no light." After he had said this, he went on to tell them, "Our friend Lazarus has fallen asleep, but I am going there to wake him up." But they don't really understand what he's talking about. They're thinking he just fell asleep, not died, fell asleep. His disciples replied, "Lord, if he sleeps, he will get better." Jesus had been speaking of his death, but his disciples thought he meant natural sleep. So then he told them plainly, "Lazarus is dead. And for your sake, I am glad I was not there, so that you may believe. But let us go to him." Then Thomas, also known as Didymus, said to the rest of the disciples, "Let us also go, that we may die with him." On his arrival, Jesus found that Lazarus had already been in the tomb for 4 days. By then, you know there's going to be an odor. They were embalmed and stuff then, you know. He was in the hot tomb. You know what starts happening to the body? Starts decomposing. And 4 days worth of that. Okay? Now Bethany was less than 2 miles from Jerusalem, and many Jews had come to Martha and Mary to comfort them in the loss of their brother. Probably some of the Jews that also wanted to stone Jesus. When Martha heard that Jesus was coming, she went out to meet him, but Mary stayed at home. "Lord," Martha said to Jesus, "if you would have been here, my brother would not have died. But I know that even now God will give you whatever you ask." They truly, truly believed that Jesus was the Messiah, the Son of God. They truly believed. Wouldn't it have been nice if everybody did that? Had the faith that they had. Jesus said to her, "Your brother will rise again." Martha answered, "I know he will rise again in the resurrection at the last day." Jesus said to her, "I am the resurrection and the life. The one who believes in me will live, even though they die. And whoever lives by believing in me will never die. Do you believe this?" "Yes, Lord," she replied. "I believe that you are the Messiah, the Son of God, who is to come into the world." After she had said this, she went back and called her sister Mary aside. "The teacher is here," she said, "and is asking for you." When Mary heard this, she got up quickly and went to him. She loved Jesus. He was her Savior. She believed every word he said, just like Martha and Lazarus and his disciples. Now Jesus had not yet entered the village, but was still at a place where Martha had met him. When the Jews who had been with Mary in the house, comforting her, noticed how quickly she got up and went out, they followed her, supposing she was going to the tomb to mourn there. When Mary reached the place where Jesus was and saw him, she fell at his feet and said, "Lord, if you had been here, my brother would not have died." When Jesus saw her weeping, and the Jews who had come along with her also weeping, He was deeply moved in spirit and troubled. "Where have you laid him?" he asked. "Come and see, Lord," they replied. Jesus wept. Shortest verse in the Bible. Jesus wept. Then the Jews said, "See how much he loved him?" But some of them said, "Could not he who opened the eyes of the blind man have kept this man from dying?" There's always a smart aleck in the bunch, you know? Somebody who wants to start trouble. Yes, of course he could have. Of course he could have went back and stopped Lazarus from dying when he was sick. But that wasn't what was to happen. Lazarus was supposed to die so Jesus could raise him from the dead. So they could believe even more so. Jesus, once more deeply moved, came to the tomb. It was a cave with a stone laid across the entrance. "Take away the stone," he said. "But Lord," said Martha, the sister of the dead man, "by this time there is a bad odor, for he has been there 4 days." Then Jesus said, "Did I not tell you that if you believe, you will see the glory of God?" So they took away the stone. Then Jesus looked up and said, "Father, I thank you that you have heard me. I knew that you always hear me, but I said this for the benefit of the people standing here, that they may believe that you sent me." When he had said this, Jesus called in a loud voice, "Lazarus, come out." The dead man came out, his hands and feet wrapped with strips of linen and a cloth around his face. Jesus said to them, "Take off the grave clothes and let him go." In perfect condition, Lazarus walked out after 4 days of being dead. So I'm sure some of the Jews that were there probably believed them. But even if the teachers of the law had been there, they still wouldn't have believed. They would have smarted something off and walked away. Or tried to stone Jesus for even doing that, you know. They never... They didn't want to believe Jesus. But Lazarus, Martha, and Mary were big followers of Jesus. Some of the most popular ones that you hear about besides the disciples. They were very close to Jesus. They loved him. And he loved them. You see, the only verse in the Bible in this whole section of the New Testament, you hear Jesus wept. That was when Martha and Mary were crying and Lazarus was dead. And they say, "See how much he loved him?" Because they were like his family. To him, they were his family. They were his brothers and sisters. Now we're going to the plot to kill Jesus, I believe. Let's see here. Yeah. Ending John today with the plot to kill Jesus. Therefore, many of the Jews who had come to visit Mary and had seen what Jesus did believed in him. But some of them went to the Pharisees and told them what Jesus had done. Then the chief priests and the Pharisees called a meeting of the Sanhedrin. Heaven forbid, Jesus raised somebody from the dead. You think that'd make them all believe, but no. They don't want Jesus performing miracles. They don't care who he is. They want the people to listen to them and them alone. "What are we accomplishing?" they asked. "Here is this man performing many signs." They still don't believe. "If we let him go on like this, everyone will believe in him. And then the Romans will come and take away both our temple and our nation." I'm sure Jesus would not have let that happen. Then one of them, named Cappius, he was the high priest that year, who was the high priest that year, spoke up. "You know nothing at all. You not realize that it is better for you that one man die for the people than that the whole nation perish? Trying to convince them that Jesus needed to be killed. He did not say this on his own, but as high priest that year, he prophesied that Jesus would die for the Jewish nation, and not only for that nation, but also for the scattered children of God, to bring them together and make them one. Do you think, would they want to be the ones to do that? Because that's not going to be good for them. So from that day on, they plotted to take his life, which they already had. Remember how many times they tried to stone him? Therefore, Jesus no longer moved about publicly among the people of Judea. Instead, he withdrew to a region near the wilderness, to a village called Ephraim, where he stayed with his disciples, which had to be very, very lonely. And of course it was. It was very lonely. He couldn't move about publicly to go where he wanted and to see the people and do more miracles that he would have wanted to do, because people were out to catch him and kill him. So it had to have been a lonely existence at that point. And plus he knew his time was growing closer and closer to the end here on this earth. At least he had his disciples there, you know. But, you know, a lot of them would have been out, you know, doing stuff, different things. And sometimes Jesus was probably left alone at times. And he always went alone, you know, to pray. Sometimes he'd take along, you know, Peter, James, and John, but they would not be right with him when he was praying. They would sit like a little distance away. Okay guys, so that is where we're stopping with John today. And our psalm is Psalm 117. This is very short. Is this the shortest psalm? It might be. It's only got 2 verses. Praise the Lord, all you nations. Extol him, all you peoples. For great is his love toward us, and the faithfulness of the Lord endures forever. Praise the Lord. The shortest probably, but nonetheless very important. We're getting close to the big psalm. Psalm 119. I'm going to look it up, but I'm guessing Psalm 117 is the shortest, and I'm guessing Psalm 119 is the longest. We'll be reading it for a few days, as you know. Okay, Proverbs chapter 15, verses 22 and 23. Plans fail for lack of counsel, but with many advisors they succeed. A person finds joy in giving an apt reply. And how good is a timely word. All right. So that was our Bible reading for today. I hope it touched your hearts. Okay, so let me go here to our prayer requests. Please keep the following people in prayer. If you have a prayer request for somebody, please send it to my email, missycrabtree@yahoo.com, or you can leave it in the comments. Sometimes some of the comments get by without me getting a notification for them, so I don't see them. I try to go to all of them, but like I said, some of them get by me when I'm clicking on the others, and then, you know, they don't pop up. So it'd be best to send it to my email, all lowercase, by the way, missycrabtree@yahoo.com, Missy with a Y, just like my account. Okay, please keep the following people in prayer. Randy Post. You'll be having a test done. It's very, very important, health-wise. It's my dad. Please keep him in your prayers. Rhonda Karchner, Sherm, Layla and her son Emil, Elizabeth Jeffries, Judy Thompson, Jimmy Myers. You'll be having his procedure on the 23rd, which is going to be very painful. They told him to make sure he took one of these pain pills before he comes. He knows it's going to be very painful. I talked to him yesterday, I believe, and I told him that Dad's taking him. Papa's going to take him, Randy Post. And I told him, you know, if he couldn't for some reason, we would, because I really wanted to be there to hold his hand. But I told him we'd come to his house the night before, or we'd come to his house and stay, and we'd spend the night that night, you know, to make sure he's okay and everything. And I'll probably stay awake watching him again if his nose starts bleeding again, which it probably will, because it's still bleeding some still. But it's a lot better. But after that, I'm sure it'll be bleeding again. So I wanted to stay and watch him. So Mom's able to get some sleep and go to bed. Just want to make sure he's okay. Cindy Welsh, Dora Parker, Joyce Light, Abby Myers, Garnet Boyer, and Jim Mitchell. You see, they went to church last night. They go to church on Wednesdays and Sundays too, I'm sure. The church is right over here beside of us. Let's see, Jan, Jeannie Burns, my sister Melly. She needs a lot of prayers. And Tina Kincaid. I need to find out about her, see if there's any updates. The only person I can find out from is my aunt, though, because, you know, she knows them from going to the lot they go to on Fridays. So I'll have to ask about her, see if she's heard any updates. Whenever I get a hold of Abby, I will have to ask her about Jan, see if she's got any updates on her. And see if Garnet's got any updates on Jeannie, because that's her granddaughter. They wouldn't let her go back to work right now because of her heart. She had a heart attack. She's anxious to go back to work, though. She's young, too. Pretty sure she's younger than Sherman and I. And she's got 2 little kids, 2 boys. Remember Tristan, you know, they're Garnet's grandkids. They're over here every day. Tristan, he has autism, and Latham, he's the little boy that has epilepsy. And they say it'll only get worse as he gets older. I heard that when kids have it, it usually gets better, but with him, they say it won't. It'll get worse. And that's sad. He's my little buddy. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Let's bring those souls to Jesus, and God willing, we'll see you guys again tomorrow with another Bible reading. Bye guys. God bless.